Hello everyone, welcome to episode 12 of my talk show episode. The reason why I'm not using a microphone is because I don't have a microphone here at my dad's house, so I don't have a USB and a microphone like that here. Although when I go back to Mom's house on Sunday or whatever, I should be able to use the microphone again. Anyways, the main topic today is going to be about iOS 11, and it's mainly awesome things. Now, before I go there, I want to just say thanks for 17 subs, or subscribers, as many people call it short. So, thanks for that. So, before I go down, last week iOS 11 was released, and the very first one came out on the 19th. Although iOS 11.0.1 came yesterday. The very first. And, but as last week, the very first 11 came. Bam. And it was a big release. It was a megabyte. It was a gigabyte long. I never noticed an update that was a gigabyte long, ever. Most of the updates are like 500 megabytes or something. But I could tell this was going to be a big release. Why? Because I watched the keynote. Now, if you haven't watched the WWDC keynote, you will understand why it's a big release. Really. Now, you guys know that that was a big release. And don't get that other stuff started. Now, let me tell you some things. Now, if you go to the App Store, you'll see they've re-updated the App Store. They pretty much did they pretty much changed way much of the App Store. Now, mainly they've been updating the App Store ever. Now, for those of you who knew the App Store on iOS 10 and such, now, on the App Store you had featured, top charts, search, notes, categories, and updates. But now they updated it with the new tabs. They made a tab for games, apps, today, updates, and there's, so they did update it for pretty much, They also added Do Not Disturb while driving, so if you're driving, that's probably one of the best times to do it. You know why? Well, because it silences your phone while you're driving. And it does by detecting when you're driving, it has your phone and it detects when you're driving. Now tell me that isn't something. Yeah. That is awesome. Now, let's talk about photos. They did add some photos, stuff you can do with your live photos, like animations and stuff. Now, that's cool. Always gotta like live photos. Let's see what else we have here. Now, let's talk about settings real quick. Settings is pretty cool, too. They pretty much made good changes to that, too. Now, the first change I want to talk about is storage. Now, storage, normally they call it storage and iCloud usage, but they called it iPhone storage, which, again, not a big deal. Another thing is, it shows recommendations. Like, normally it just shows what app size your apps are, but it's a little different, and it even shows when it was last used. And you can also offload it so it takes all your stuff down. And it also shows what could be doing it based on your stuff on your phone. So that's another good thing. So, you could see, when was the last time someone used an app? Unless you're a spy guy and you want to spy on people. But, no, not really. Anyway, but you want to see what you have. And you want to see what thing you have. So, yeah, you know, basically, what it basically happens is, you know, you have, you know, your thing, and it shows your stuff, and it's pretty cool. Now, that's was pretty cool. Now, in Safari, instead of calling it pages, they call it tabs. Instead of pages, like the pages is on the very bottom of Safari. So when you go in Safari, go all the way down to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and instead of seeing the pages, you'll see a thing called tabs instead of pages. I mean, of course there are tabs, but they just changed it to pages instead of tabs. But yeah. And yeah, so. And let's talk about messages, shall we? Now, messages, they did change stuff. And you can share your Apple Music, so or songs you've downloaded. And all that other stuff, so that's cool. And you can send your friends money through Apple Pay, so that's pretty sweet, too. Although I never done that, obviously. Now, next thing I want to talk about, Files. Yes, they actually made a new app called Files. And it works. And it has all your apps that have, like, files, like, let's say you downloaded Google Drive or OneDrive. Well, I don't have Google Drive app, although I have a Google account. And I do upload stuff to Google Drive, but I don't have the app on my phone. But you can show all your data, and also it'll show your recently shared Pages documents if you have the Pages word processor app, which I already have, and it was already built into your phone, so, and, yeah, it has that in your phone, so you automatically get Pages on your phone, obviously. Now, yeah, they did change it, so, instead of having iCloud Drive, they removed the app, I'm assuming, and then called it Files instead of iCloud Drive. Well, maybe they didn't remove the app. Maybe they just called it a different name. I don't really know. Only Apple knows. Anyway. Now let's talk about the screen reading software, VoiceOver, which is what I use. Now, on that, there's a different feature that you can use called pitch, where you can change the pitch high or low. Now, of course, we have the same pitch change toggle buttons. You can, toggle that on or off. But there's also where you can change the pitch high or low. So you can have a man talk like a lady again, like the Microsoft mic joke or whatever you want. So, yeah. So that's what they did. So. You don't want to forget that, yeah, they have made such a big release, and it's so big, I think it's pretty interesting how they done, Oh yeah, before I get back to my topic of, the iOS 11 update, now, I want to, bring an update to my Kevin MacLeod's songs that I've been worked on. The reason why it hasn't been uploaded to YouTube yet, it has been worked on, but as you guys may know, iMovie upgraded to version 2.2.4 a few weeks ago. They made an update, and I think there's a problem with uploading to YouTube or whatever. Well, not just uploading to YouTube, but exporting things to anywhere. So, I mean, I'm sure you could probably do it in Splice or whatever, but I'm not good at adding more than one song, so that project will have to hold off until that works, or unless I can get it to work again, so I'll update you on that if it works again the next day or any day, but that's my update on that. Okay, now back to what I said. Now, they did change quite a bit. Now the downsides to this thing. Now, I have a few apps that I've used on this phone from the later software. Sorry about that. I was just seeing how long it was. Anyway, I have downloaded apps that have used from the latest software, from the earliest softwares. Now, when iOS 11 came around, then some of the apps screwed up and didn't want to work anymore. So I had to remove them. Now, I will explain to you the apps that I had to delete because of this. And I still have to work on deleting some others because of this. One of them, Speak It by Future Apps Incorporated. Now, this is another text-to-speech app where you type whatever the heck you want, just like iPhone or NeoSpeech. Now, this app was never updated since 2013. They always said they were going to update it. And no one said that they were no longer supporting the app either. I know. Just let that sink in your head for a little bit. And the app wasn't free, so I don't know why that they would still not update it. And, by the way, if you don't know, they use a cappella group like Ryan, Grimm, Lucy. Well, those are the voices for free users, but you could get more if you purchase. And you could always save your audio files, and then you could email it if you wanted to, which I would do all the time for my rant video, which I still haven't concluded that. I still haven't done my series of that. I haven't done many of my series in a while. Anyway, but, yeah, another app that hasn't been updated is Voice Assistant Plus. Don't know what app company it is, but you can also hit the record button and it'll make a ding, and then after that you can stop recording and it will bring up an editor where you can delete any text that you meant to say, or you can copy anything you want. Now, that's the one that was no longer working. That was another one that was crappy, so I had to remove that one too. So there's so many apps that I had to remove. And the other one I had to remove was Helium Balloons. Now, Helium Balloons is an app by LabWorks made in 2009. Never was updated. Version 1.0. Never updated the app since. Now, just let that sink in for a moment. That app was always in 1.0. Never updated it since 2009. And plus, some idiots were... Shut up, Alex. Some people are too lazy to review it, or they're too lazy to update it. Now, that's a problem. Why? Because the apps won't work with newer versions of iOS. Now, you would think if they're smarter that you'd know that. But no, they're not smart. So, they had to not update it. They never update. No wonder why the map is so laggy. Now, if you go on the Helium, if you were able to use the app, well, if some of you have, like, later versions of iOS, like iOS 8, if you guys are still down there, or iOS 9, whatever, you guys could still use the app or whatever, or iOS 10, maybe, but it's not the best. If you're in iOS 10, it's not the best, stability. But, also, there's a feature where it's called Track and Pick Balloons. Now, it'll bring up a map that shows all virtual balloons released. Maybe others did too. And it would work just fine. Now, but it does lag so much. It takes so much to load. And it freezes up so much. So, and it's very laggy. Not to mention, so I don't like how it's naggy. And but yeah, it's quite naggy, and now it doesn't work now because you can't launch balloons anymore because it doesn't work. And also, when there's an error message, the screen is stuck and you can't get to nothing unless you close the app out, but it's still not going to work. So that's also screwed up too. So yeah. Talk about a screwed up app. I liked it. It worked when I got it in 2014, but of course, I was on the iPhone 4S. But ever since 2016 and 17 came, it screwed up. So, it was messed up big time. So, well, I hope you enjoyed the episode. One bad thing they moved the rest of the stuff.